So interactive ways to work in Management Studio. So if we have a very typical kind of query, select the employee number, the name and formal name format, you know what that means, right? Last name, comma, first name. Along with the job title and department code. Sort the outputs by seniority with the most senior employee first, right? Okay, so that's the kind of thing you did last term to ad nauseum. Well, let me come back in here, right? So I'm working in D-Stavel Company. I'm going to make a new query window. Notice that I can do that. I'm just still in my same database. Always good to check that. One of the things that can really help us, I rarely finish a query 100% using this tool, but often gets me 80 or 90% of the way without me. You've seen what a terrible typist I am, right? Make typos all the time. Takes me twice as long to do anything that way. Why not use the interactive tool? Yes, there is one for writing queries too. If I right-click anywhere in here, Design Query in Editor. By selecting that, I get this nice dialog box. I can say what table or tables I want to bring in to work with in the query. So for this one, I only need employee, right? And basically there's 3 regions here. At the bottom, you can see the actual SQL being created. You can work in any one of the 3 and it will update the other 2 regions. This is a columnar arrangement showing the different fields in the projection. Things like sort order, filters, which is another way of saying where clause and so on, is all available here. Now, as I check things off, even these checkboxes, it will add them to the projection. So the instructions call for, first of all, the employee number. So I can check that off, and you see it was added down here in the projection of the select. Then it wants the formal name. So the order that I check these off actually helps, right? Now mind you, you can always rearrange it. That doesn't matter. But I might as well get it as close to right the first time. So I'll check off last name first and first name next. That way it's already in the right order to just concatenate together later. And then I think it asks for the title. And I forget what else it asked for, so we'll go and look. Job title and department code, okay, and then sort it by seniority, the most senior first, right? So we want to see the department code. Now, so it's not asking to see the start date, but it wants it sorted by start date. There's a couple ways we could do this in the tool, but I can start by just checking it up here. And if we don't want it to show in the projection, notice there's a output checkbox right here in the columnar section in the middle. So I can just take it off so it won't be, and you notice the difference. If you look at the SQL down below, it adds or removes it from the text, right? But now it's down here so I can work with it. I can say sort order 1, right? So if you're sorting by one thing first and something else next, you would just pick them like 1, 2, 3, 4, right? And then I can specify ascending or descending. Okay, the default, of course, would be ascending. So do I want them in ascending or descending order? Well, let's try descending, okay? When I click OK, it just copies the SQL I've written so far into the query window. I can execute that, see the results. Okay, the only thing is I'm not very sure. It seems to be mostly right, although I don't have the name concatenated yet. But I don't know if it's really in the right order because I can't see the data. The question asks for it without the data displayed. Well, let me first of all fix this. Let me come in here. I want to concatenate the name together, last name, first name, right? Comma, first name. I can execute that. And it looks like it's working. I'm getting the right format here for the name, formal name format, but I don't have a column name. How do I fix that? As, that's right. Yeah. I can come up here and say as. Maybe I'll just call it employee. Darn, caps lock. Okay. So there we go. But I don't really know if it's really in the right order or not, do I? Well, if I come down here and right click, select Design Query in Editor, I'm starting from scratch again. Well, that might be what I want to do in some circumstances, because I can keep adding more and more queries to the script that way. But if I highlight this first, right click, and say Design Query in Editor, as long as I clicked inside the selected area, now it reloads the query back in. Now it's going to look a little different, right? Because this is now an expression. It's not really a column, right? and it has an alias that I gave it. Okay, so it looks a little different. But it is basically the query that I had worked out so far. So what I might do is just check this off so at least I can see the data in it for now, right? Feel free, you know, when you're going to do something on a test or a quiz or whatever, you don't have to only have the final version. You can have rough versions, add extra things to see what's going on, and just take them out before you're done, right? So I'll execute that now. I can see the dates. All right, so 1996, 95. Ooh, you know what? I don't think I have it in the right order. I must have been thinking backwards because the most senior employee is the one here at the bottom, right? He started back in 81. So I don't want it ascending, I want it descending. Now I could highlight the whole thing, go back in there and change that drop-down list from ascending to descending, but why bother? All we have to do is go, right? Don't be afraid to work inside just because this tool is there. Don't think you have to do everything using that tool. In fact, you often can't. There's certain things that don't work in there, right? But I find it's very helpful, helps me avoid a lot of the things that can go wrong, right? And then now this is ordered the correct way. And see, if I don't want to show the employee start anymore, I don't have to go back in there. I can just come up here and take it out, right? There we go. Now I have the answer as it was specified in the question. And you can carry on. Just to quickly show you, if I was going to do a query with both, if I had both tables, oh, close. Notice that because the existing relationship is there in the database design, it shows it here, and look at this, right? There's my inner join. Okay, so it wrote the inner join clause for me. Not a big deal with 2 tables, but a picture having 5 tables that all relate to each other. You just throw them all in this tool, and it writes all that big long inner join clause, this one to that one, this one to that one, and the whole thing is written for you, right? So there you go. So kind of useful. So let's say we wanted to show the same kind of thing with maybe just the employee's last name, their salary, and the name of the department, right? So now I have that available. I didn't have it before, I just had the department code. But now I can show the name of the department because I have both tables, right? So I can highlight and just execute that query, and I'm seeing the last names, the salaries, and the full name of the department. So there we go. So that's just a little introduction to using that tool. All right, how are we for time here? Oh, I must be zoomed in.